Now, Huduma Number registration may be over here on Kenyan soil, but it still continues in the diaspora. The reason why Jeff Koinange is not to my left in studio, he's actually in the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C., monitoring the ongoing registration there that continues. Jeff, how has it been there? Of course, many Kenyans in the diaspora complaining about getting to D.C. from various parts of the U.S. and Mexico as well. But how has the exercise been going so far?
That's right, Victoria. Now, the Huduma Number registration deadline may have expired there in Kenya, but here in the U.S., it is literally just beginning. Now, picture this for a moment. The entire United States of America is the size of a third of Africa. Huge. Flying from New York to California takes about 5 hours. Now, here's the thing. There are only 3 Huduma centers here in the U.S. In New York, in Los Angeles, California, and here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. So Kenyans from across the U.S. have to make their way to either of these 3 points. But the Kenyan embassy here in the U.S. has said it will do all it can to go to the people, as many as it can, because it too has a deadline. And that deadline is June the 20th.
It's down from the flag. Oh, they did.
It is early morning in the U.S. Capitol, and Kenyans from across the country have arrived at Kenya House to get their Huduma number. Isabella Kaburu flew 3 hours from Chicago, Illinois, where she's been living for the past 13 years working as a nurse. She heard about the registration process through the embassy's website and decided to take her chances and avoid the crowds.
Surprisingly, very efficient. I went online, made a profile, filled out my information. They sent me an email, and then I brought that email here, as well as my documents, and it didn't take more than half an hour.
It is the same for local D.C. resident Kenneth Kibe Wainaina, who recently moved here to work for the World Bank. He's in and out of the Huduma Center in no time.
I'm always online, on Twitter, Facebook, and yeah, chatting up with my buddies. So that's how I got to know about the Huduma Number.
How long was it? Despite limited equipment and staff, there are only about a half a dozen of the specialized tablets and an equal number of trained embassy staff here. The registration process is fairly smooth and seemingly effortless, thanks to an efficient embassy team led by Deputy Ambassador David Gasheru.
So, brother, everything okay?
Everything's okay.
You're good?
Yeah,
we are catching up okay?
Catching up.
Wi-Fi is good, right?
Good.
Good.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good. We can meet the deadline if people cooperate, and also we are trying to, there's an update coming up on diaspora website where they can actually schedule their time. So it hasn't updated yet, but right now we have a domain that's specific for diaspora. And that domain, people go in and log in, and they schedule. They can schedule their appointment. Because right now, everybody's working. And that's kind of create a bottleneck, especially in the morning.
Yeah.
A lot of people coming for the visas. But we're hoping that in a week's time, I think I'm told, that it will be up, the calendar will be up online. So when you register, you also schedule your time. So at any particular time, we know how many people are coming.
Outgoing Kenyan Ambassador Robinson Njeru Githai pops in now and then to make sure there are no glitches. His is a mammoth task. He knows there are more than 350,000 Kenyans living and working in the U.S., and the deadline for this registration exercise is only weeks away.
Really, there should be no need for any person to be skeptical about Huduma Number. This is an important number as it links all the other 9 numbers together. So this is something, but you have seen the interest that the diaspora have. In fact, their main problem is how we can go around the states and cities so that we can give them this service. Because US is actually a continent, yes. It's not a country.
But negative attitudes towards the Huduma Number are not uncommon here. The skepticism and pessimism has been a daily debate on numerous Kenyan social media websites. Deputy Ambassador Gasheru says the controversies surrounding the Huduma number could not be further from the truth.
It's unfortunate because it's among ourselves. Sometimes we Kenyans beat ourselves too much for no reason. This is the technology advancement that most Western countries, the United States, would wish to have, a universal indexation file. So a lot of this is skepticism, it's just lack of information. By the end of the day, our government will be able to give services because it will know its populations and the number of people. There are a lot of surveillance data we cannot have right now because everything we've done is predictive data right now. It's analytical. But with the universal data, we'll be able to do proper statistical data. Yeah.
Now, here in the U.S., they have something that's closest to a Huduma number. They call it a social security number. Every child who is born in this country is assigned that number, and they'll keep that number till the day they die. It's not about names, it's not about religion, it's not about ethnicity. It is that number that determines their entire life. So Huduma number, well, hopefully people will get on it and it should work. Jeff Koinange, Citizen Television in Washington, D.C.